Hey folks, welcome back. Right here is a table that I built back in 2011 when my son was just entering first grade. It's a table that's clearly his child size. Um, and I had done some woodworking things prior to that, but this was really my first true furniture piece. And there's some things I like about it, but there are some things that I would probably do a little bit differently if I were to do it over again today. Um, so this year, right around now, is the Woodworkers Fighting Cancer charity event, and it's a table and chair set. Now that's also for a small child, but I think we're going to scale that up a bit and make it for my son who's now in fifth grade because kids grow. Okay, so since we're changing the dimensions of the project, I needed to remap out where the parts were going to come out of the plywood. I wanted the table to come in at 29 inches high with a top of 42 by 21, and the seat of the chair to come in at about 18 inches, and that's based off measurements from his desk at school during parent-teacher conferences. I came up with this preliminary drawing, which you can see my son had his 2 cents put in. I actually thought he did a pretty good job. Okay, I actually needed to print out 2 copies of the template. For the chair, I needed to scale it at 153% and the leg at 131%. The chair at 153% put the seat at right about 17.5 inches, and for the leg at 131%, that brought the leg up to almost 29 inches, and when you figure in the 3/4 inch top, it brought it up to about 29 inches. Okay, once I got the paper templates cut out, it was time to put it on plywood so I can cut out the first side of the chair, which will end up being the template for the second side. Once that was ready, it was time to cut it out. I used a combination of my jigsaw and my bandsaw to take care of this. And then I used an oscillating spindle sander to fine-tune the edges. Okay, when that was set, it was time to get the leg blanks ready for ripping. And then time to put paper template back onto the plywood to make one that will become my master template for the rest. And then I can cut this out easily at the bandsaw. And then it's back to the sander for shaping. Okay, once I had the one template made, it was easy to cut out the other chair side and flush trim that using the original as my base. Rinse and repeat for the leg pieces. Everything gets a nice round over with my makeshift router table. Okay, once that was done, I went back to the paper template, and because they were scaled, I had to find out where each piece lied. And where the dowel and the hole indicators are, I used a brad point to find the center of each. Because it was scaled up, the dimensions are no longer accurate, so I used that to find my center point. And I could flip the paper template over and use the same holes to do it on the mirror image. And then use the proper brad point size bit to drill the dowel holes. Okay, back to the paper template, I used the same marks to find the location of the dowel and threaded insert on the edges of each piece for the backs of the chair and the seat. The threaded insert goes into the middle while the 2 outer holes are for the dowels. Okay, on the leg template, I had to remap out, since the aprons are 4.5 inches, I refigured out that line, and then I redid where the holes were. I came in 1 1/8 inches from each side along that same line to keep the holes lined up as the original template was. And in the meantime, I glued up the both sides of the legs, and you can see them here with my very high-tech clamps. Alright, now it's time for my son to join me, and he helped me do some test fitting with the dowels and whatnot. And of course, anytime my son comes to the shop, it's goofball time. The Woodworkers Fighting Cancer projects are always great for, I think, kids because they're approachable projects with some guidance, and you can see here my son is having some fun and hopefully in the process learning something as well. Thanks, I needed some dusting off. Go ahead and spin that around for me.
That's what's fun about it too.
Okay, now here I'm going to be rabbiting out the bottom part of the box so that makes up the table bottom. You'll notice I'm only doing 3 sides because instead of having a top that's going to lift out, I'm actually going to have one side that's actually open, almost like a school desk. The top is going to stay stationary. Okay, back to using the paper template and my brad point bit trick to mark out where I need to drill the holes. I use a backer board here to help prevent tear out. I use the same holes to find where the holes on the apron should be placed. Okay, inserting the threaded inserts into the aprons, and screw the side aprons into the back apron. I'm going to use pocket holes to join the aprons to the top of the table. As I mentioned, it's going to be a stationary top with one side open on the aprons, and pocket holes will be fine here since it's plywood, it's stable. Okay, the top is being painted with chalkboard paint that we had some left over. The base and the legs and the chair will be the same green we used for last year's toy chest project. Painting isn't all that exciting, so I won't show you too much of that. After painting was done, it was time to reassemble the chair and then move on to finish assembling the table.